Tara nervously adjusted her sensory fronds as she peered out over the classroom of excited young Galactic Federation cadets. It was her first cycle teaching Xenobiology 101 at the prestigious Academy of Interstellar Sciences, and today promised to be interesting. Her glance darted to the back of the room where Cadet Tyler Schmidt sat, the sole human in a sea of alien life forms. "All right, class, settle down," Tara burbled, her speech sacs inflating with each word. "Today we begin our unit on Class 12 planets, colloquially known as Deathworlds, and as a special treat, Cadet Schmidt has volunteered to give us a show and tell presentation about his home planet, Earth." A ripple of excitement passed through the classroom. Most of the cadets had never seen a Deathworlder up close before Tyler's arrival at the Academy 3 lunar cycles ago. The human's very presence had caused quite a stir, with some instructors even questioning the wisdom of allowing such a potentially dangerous creature to study alongside the other species. Tyler stood up, his six-a frame towering over his alien classmates. He made his way to the front, careful not to accidentally brush against anyone with his powerful, dense body. A datapad was clutched in one hand, while the other carried a sealed containment unit. "Thanks, Professor Tara," Tyler said with a smile that inadvertently displayed his alarmingly sharp canine teeth. A few of the more sensitive students recoiled slightly. "I'm excited to share a bit about Earth with you all today." He placed the containment unit on the instructor's desk and tapped a few buttons on his datapad. A holographic image of a blue and green sphere appeared, slowly rotating in the air. "This is Earth, my homeworld," Tyler began. "It's a Class 12 planet located in what you call the Sol system, about 25,000 light-years from galactic center. Earth has a nitrogen-oxygen atmosphere, liquid water oceans, and a wide range of climatic zones." As Tyler spoke, the hologram zoomed in to showcase various Earth landscapes from snow-capped mountains to scorching deserts, lush rainforests to sprawling grasslands. "One of the things that makes Earth unique is its extreme biodiversity," Tyler continued. "We have millions of species of plants and animals, many of which have evolved to survive in harsh conditions." The classroom was silent, all eyes fixed on the rapidly changing images. Tara noticed a few students taking notes, their appendages moving furiously across their datapads. "But what really sets Earth apart," Tyler said, a hint of pride in his voice, "is its geological activity. Our planet has a molten core that drives plate tectonics, resulting in earthquakes, volcanic eruptions, and the constant reshaping of our world's surface." As if on cue, the hologram displayed a massive volcano spewing lava and ash into the air. Several students gasped, their color-changing skin flickering rapidly in alarm. "Don't worry," Tyler chuckled, misinterpreting their reaction. "This is just a normal part of life on Earth. In fact, many of our cities are built near active volcanoes or fault lines." Tara's fronds twitched nervously. She'd studied Deathworlds extensively, but hearing a native describe such conditions so casually was unsettling. "Now, I know you're all probably wondering about Earth's wildlife," Tyler said, reaching for the containment unit. "So I brought along a little friend to show you." The entire class leaned forward in anticipation. Even Tara found herself curious about what Earth creature the human had managed to bring aboard the space station. Tyler pressed his thumb against the biometric lock, and the containment unit hissed open. With surprising gentleness for such a powerfully built being, he reached inside and withdrew a small, furry creature. "This," Tyler announced proudly, "is a hamster. Her name is Whiskers, and she's a common Earth pet." The reaction was immediate and intense. Half the class recoiled in terror, while the other half surged forward in fascination. Whiskers, for her part, simply sat in Tyler's palm, twitching her tiny nose and looking around with beady black eyes. "Cadet Schmidt," Tara exclaimed, her speech sacs inflating to nearly twice their normal size. "You brought a live Earth animal into my classroom." "Of course," Tyler replied, looking confused. "I cleared it with station biosecurity. Whiskers is completely harmless, I promise." But his words fell on deaf ears, or whatever passed for ears among the varied alien species present. A Veluxian student in the front row, its gelatinous body quivering violently, suddenly emitted a high-pitched shriek. "It's going to eat us all," the Veluxian wailed, its translator struggling to keep up with the rapid-fire clicks and whistles. "What?" "No, she's an herbivore," Tyler tried to explain. but panic was already spreading through the classroom. A Centauri cadet, all 8 of its eyes wide with fear, leapt onto its desk. "Look at those razor-sharp claws," it shouted, pointing a trembling tentacle at Whiskers' tiny paws. "And those teeth. It's clearly a vicious predator." "Everyone, please calm down." Zixtara attempted to regain control, but her pleas were drowned out by the growing chaos. A group of Phloxian students, their bioluminescent skin flashing warning patterns, huddled together in a defensive formation. "We must neutralize the threat," their leader declared, raising a multi-jointed arm. "Wait, no," Tyler shouted, instinctively cupping his hands around Whiskers to protect her. "She's not dangerous, I swear." But his imposing Deathworlder physique, so alien and frightening to his classmates, only added to the panic. A Malorian student, its wings buzzing in agitation, accidentally knocked over a shelf of delicate scientific instruments in its haste to get away from Tyler. The crash seemed to break whatever remaining calm existed in the room. Zixtara watched in horror as her carefully planned lesson devolved into utter bedlam. "Evacuation protocol Omega-3," someone shouted, and suddenly the classroom's emergency system sprang to life. Sirens wailed, lights flashed, and the automated voice of the station's AI filled the air. "Attention. Potential Deathworld contamination detected. All personnel must evacuate immediately. This is not a drill. Repeat, this is not a drill." Students poured out of the classroom, their various forms of locomotion creating a chaotic stampede towards the exit. Some slithered, others flew, a few even teleported short distances in their panic to escape. Amidst the mayhem, Tyler stood frozen in disbelief, still cradling Whiskers protectively. He locked eyes with Professor Zixtara, who was clinging to her desk with all 4 of her tentacle-like arms. I'm so sorry," Tyler managed to stammer. "I just wanted to share a bit of my world with everyone." Zixtara's color-changing skin cycled through a rapid series of patterns that Tyler's translator interpreted as a mix of exasperation, fear, and surprisingly a touch of amusement. "Well, Cadet Schmidt," she said, her voice barely audible over the blaring alarms, "I believe you've given us all a rather immersive lesson in Deathworld biology today." As the last of the students fled the room and the station's security protocols kicked into high gear, Tyler couldn't help but wonder how he was going to explain this in his next vid call home to Earth. Somehow, he doubted my hamster caused an interstellar incident would go over well with his parents. The adventure, it seemed, was only beginning. This opening sets the stage for the story, introducing our main characters and the inciting incident. Would you like me to continue with the next section? Or do you have any feedback or changes you'd like me to incorporate as we move forward? The station's corridors were a whirlwind of activity as security teams in biosafety suits rushed towards the classroom. Alarms continued to blare, and the AI's calm voice repeated its evacuation instructions in 17 different languages. Tyler, still holding Whiskers, found himself being ushered out of the classroom by a very flustered Professor Zixtara. "Come along, Cadet Schmidt," she burbled, her speech sacs pulsating rapidly. "We need to get you and your pet to a containment area before." She was cut off by the arrival of a squad of security officers, led by Chief Security Officer Krillax, a towering Arcturian whose exoskeleton gleamed under the emergency lights. "Halt!" Krillax's mandibles clicked as he spoke. "Deathworlder, surrender the bioweapon immediately." Tyler blinked in confusion. "Bioweapon? It's just a hamster." Krillax's compound eyes narrowed. "Our scans detected a creature with sharp incisors and claws, capable of rapid reproduction. Clearly, you've engineered a devastating biological agent." "What?" No, Tyler protested. "Whiskers is just a normal pet. Millions of humans keep them." This statement, meant to be reassuring, had quite the opposite effect. The security team took a collective step back, their various appendages tightening on their weapons. "Millions," one officer squeaked. "They're breeding an army." Professor Zixtara, sensing the situation spiraling out of control, attempted to intervene. "Officers, if I may." But at that moment, Whiskers, stressed by all the commotion, did what hamsters often do when frightened. She bit Tyler's thumb. "Ouch!" Tyler exclaimed reflexively, more surprised than hurt. The reaction was instantaneous. Security officers dove for cover, Energy shields flickered to life, and someone screamed, "It's attacking the Deathworlder. Run for your lives." In the ensuing chaos, Tyler lost his grip on Whiskers. The hamster, seeing her chance for freedom, leapt from his hands and scurried down the corridor. "No, Whiskers, come back," Tyler called out, starting after her. "Cadet Schmidt, wait," Professor Zix shouted, but it was too late. Tyler had already taken off after his escaped pet, his powerful Deathworlder legs carrying him swiftly down the hallway. Krillax raised a multi-jointed arm. "After them. Don't let the bioweapon escape." As the security team scrambled to pursue, Professor Zix found herself alone in the suddenly empty corridor. With a resigned ripple of her sensory fronds, she muttered, "I should have stuck to teaching theoretical xenobiology." Meanwhile, Tyler sprinted through the station, following the tiny sound of Whiskers' paws on the metal floor. He was vaguely aware of the panic he was causing. Aliens of all species pressed themselves against walls or ducked into rooms as he passed, leaving a wake of terrified whispers and flashing bioluminescence behind him. "Sorry. Excuse me." Coming through, Tyler called out as he ran, trying his best to sound non-threatening. It wasn't working. He skidded around a corner and found himself in the station's grand atrium, a massive open space filled with alien plant life and bubbling fountains. Under normal circumstances, it would have been bustling with activity. Now it was eerily empty save for a few stragglers who hadn't yet gotten the evacuation notice. Tyler scanned the area frantically, looking for any sign of Whiskers. A flash of movement caught his eye there, by the base of a large, tentacled plant that swayed gently despite the lack of wind. "Whiskers," Tyler called out, rushing towards the plant. But as he approached, he realized his mistake. The movement he'd seen wasn't his hamster, but rather the plant itself, and it was reacting to his presence. The tentacle-like vines suddenly whipped towards him with alarming speed. Tyler's Deathworlder reflexes kicked in, and he dove to the side, narrowly avoiding being snagged. "What the?" he gasped, rolling to his feet. The plant, easily 20 feet tall, was now fully animated, its vines lashing out in all directions. A small, spherical robot zipped up to him, projecting the image of a stern-looking alien with far too many eyes. "Human. Step away from the Venusian throttle vine immediately. That species is classified as extremely dangerous to most life forms." Tyler backed away, keeping a wary eye on the thrashing plant. "I'm looking for my hamster," he tried to explain. "Have you seen?" The robot cut him off. "Your hamster has been spotted entering the station's ventilation system. Security teams are in pursuit, but the robot's lights suddenly flashed red. Alert. Multiple hull breaches detected in sectors 7 through 15. Emergency force fields activating." Tyler's eyes widened in horror. Hull breaches? But how? The answer came in the form of a distant explosion, followed by the terrifying sound of twisting metal. Tyler sprinted to the atrium's main viewport, just in time to see a section of the station's outer hull peel away, like the skin of a fruit. In the vacuum of space beyond, a small, furry figure tumbled past, somehow looking as confused as a hamster possibly could. "Whiskers!" Tyler cried out, pressing his hands against the transparent aluminum of the viewport. But Whiskers wasn't alone out there. The hull breach had expelled more than just one tiny Earth pet. Debris, equipment, and Tyler realized with growing dread several alien life forms were now drifting in space. Some were clearly unconscious, while others flailed in panic. Without thinking, Tyler sprinted towards the nearest airlock. The spherical robot zipped after him, shrieking warnings, but Tyler ignored it. He reached the airlock and began the emergency suit-up sequence, thanking his lucky stars for the countless drills the Academy had put him through. As the airlock's outer door began to cycle open, Tyler heard the pounding of multiple feet and other appendages approaching. He turned to see Professor Zix, Security Chief Krillax, and a team of very out-of-breath officers rushing towards him. Cadet Schmidt, Zix called out, her voice filled with a mix of awe and horror. "What do you think you're doing?" Tyler's voice was firm as the airlock finished pressurizing. "What any Deathworlder would do, Professor. I'm going to save them, all of them." With that, he stepped into the airlock. The door sealed behind him, cutting off the protests and warnings from those inside. As the outer door opened, Tyler took a deep breath, mentally preparing himself for what was about to be the craziest spacewalk in Academy history. "Hold on, Whiskers," he muttered. "Your human is coming." And with that, Tyler Schmidt, Deathworlder cadet and accidentally cause of the greatest disaster in the Academy of Interstellar Sciences history, launched himself into the void. And with that, Tyler Schmidt, Deathworlder cadet and accidentally cause of the greatest disaster in the Academy of Interstellar Sciences history, launched himself into the void. The frigid embrace of space enveloped him as he propelled himself towards the drifting forms of his classmates and professors. His Deathworlder physiology, evolved to withstand Earth's punishing gravity and atmosphere, now served him well in the unforgiving vacuum. With practiced movements, Tyler fired short bursts from his suit's maneuvering thrusters, reaching the closest alien, a Malorian, whose delicate wings fluttered uselessly in the void. He secured a tether to the unconscious being and pushed off towards his next target. One by one, Tyler collected his fellow students, acutely aware of the dwindling oxygen supply in his suit. The station's emergency teams had launched rescue shuttles, but they were still minutes away, minutes the fragile alien physiologies might not have. As he corralled the last of the drifting life forms, a glint caught Tyler's eye. There, tumbling end over end in a lazily expanding spiral, was Whiskers. The hamster's tiny spacesuit emergency measure Tyler had insisted on when bringing her aboard had automatically deployed. With a final burst from his thrusters, Tyler reached out and gently caught his pet. "Gotcha, little troublemaker," he murmured, securing Whiskers to his suit. The rescue shuttles arrived moments later, their tractor beams locking onto Tyler and his gathered classmates. As they were pulled to safety, Tyler couldn't help but chuckle at the absurdity of it all. Back aboard the station, after a thorough decontamination process, Tyler found himself facing a stern-looking disciplinary committee. Professor Zix stood nearby, her color-shifting skin cycling through a range of unreadable patterns. Cadet Schmidt, the committee chair, a towering Vulparian, began. "Your actions today have been..." Tyler braced himself for expulsion, or worse. Nothing short of extraordinary, the chair finished, mandibles clicking in what Tyler's translator interpreted as admiration. Confused, Tyler glanced at Professor Zix, who was now a shade of pleased purple. "While your show and tell did indeed cause significant disruption," Zix explained, "your quick thinking and selfless bravery in the face of danger exemplify the very qualities we seek to cultivate in our cadets." The Vulparian nodded in agreement. "You've given us all a first-hand lesson in the adaptability and resilience that have allowed your species to thrive on a death world. It's clear now why the Federation was so keen to include humans in our program." Tyler stood speechless as the committee commended him for his actions, recommending him for the Academy's highest honor. As the hearing concluded, he felt a gentle tap on his shoulder. Security Chief Krillax stood there, holding out a containment unit. Inside, Whiskers dozed peacefully, apparently unperturbed by her space adventure. "I believe this belongs to you," Cadet Krillax said, his tone gruff but not unkind. "Perhaps next time, a holographic presentation would suffice." Tyler grinned sheepishly as he took the containment unit. "Understood, Chief. Though I can't promise it'll be any less exciting." As he left the committee chamber, Tyler realized that in trying to teach his classmates about Earth, he'd ended up learning something profound about the galaxy and his place in it. It was going to be an interesting few years at the Academy, that was for sure. And Whiskers? She slept soundly in her containment unit, dreaming of giant wheels and endless fields of cosmic clover, blissfully unaware of her role in the greatest show and tell disaster in galactic history.